From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 25th, 2019. We open with some political news in Israel. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, leader of the left-wing Meretz Party Nitzan Horowitz, and former Labor member Stav Shafir announced this morning that they are merging ahead of Israel's national elections this September. The United Party will be called the Democratic Camp, which will be led by Horowitz, with Shafir in the number 2 spot, and Barak apparently in the number 10 spot at his own request, with sources in his party telling the Times of Israel that he would then be promised the first pick of ministerial posts if the party makes it into the Knesset. The three addressed the press this afternoon, where Horowitz said, "We are embarking on a path that in a month and a half will lead to replacing the leadership and to a social change." He promised to narrow social gaps in Israeli society, work towards peace with the Palestinians, and defend democracy in the Supreme Court and the media. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reportedly once again pushing parties on the right to merge with Otzma Yehudit, which is associated with the Kach party, which was barred from the Knesset over its extremist views. If you recall, the Jewish Home and National Union parties agreed to merge with Otzma at Netanyahu's request ahead of the elections this past April. Yesterday, the Israeli news site Walla reported that Netanyahu had also promised the leaders of the Jewish Home and National Union 2 ministerial positions if they go ahead with the merger. Now, at the same time, head of the new right party, Ayelet Shaked, is holding talks also with National Union leader Rafi Peretz to discuss a merger with her. Netanyahu has reportedly told Peretz to reject any Shaked alliance. Israel's embassy in Finland was vandalized this week by neo-Nazi and far-right extremists. This is said to be at least the 15th time in the last year and a half that the Helsinki embassy was targeted. Ynet reports that in the most recent occurrence this past weekend, the glass front door of the embassy was shattered and images of swastikas and of Hitler were hung in the entrance to the building. Israel's foreign ministry called on Finnish authorities to take action to find those responsible and to prevent further incidents. Well, an Orthodox Jewish woman has been chosen to head the U.S. National Security Agency's new cybersecurity directorate. 43-year-old Anne Orchani Neuberger, who hails from Borough Park, Brooklyn, has worked at the NSA for the last 10 years and helped establish the U.S. Cyber Command. She also held senior positions working for the U.S. Navy and the Secretary of Defense. Her parents, by the way, were among the hostages rescued by Israel during the renowned raid at Entebbe in 1976. In an interview with The Forward, Neuberger said, "A military operation brought my parents home. Sometimes that's the only option." She said threats from those that want to cause us harm are real and not going away. Neuberger said, "We have a commitment to defending our nation in lawful ways. The NSA makes critical contributions to protect the nation." The U.S. House of Representatives this week, as we reported to you, passed a resolution against BDS. But they also passed another bill calling for sanctions against Palestinian terrorist groups. House Resolution 1850, the Palestinian International Terrorism Support Prevention Act, was sponsored by Republican Brian Mast of Florida. It also directs the president to report to Congress any foreign state or agency that knowingly assists in, sponsors, or provides significant financial or material support for Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or any affiliate. Mast, by the way, volunteered for the IDF after his U.S. Army service. He said these sanctions send a strong message to anybody who supports these radicals, preaching the destruction of Israel and death to everything we hold dear in the United States. U.S. General Todd Walters, who leads the U.S. European Command, met today with the IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi, in Tel Aviv. Walters was greeted with a full military welcome as he arrived at IDF headquarters, in a sign of continued and complete cooperation between the U.S. and Israel. Legendary Jewish baseball player Sandy Koufax will be honored at Dodger Stadium. A statue of the iconic pitcher will stand next to fellow Hall of Fame Dodger, the legendary Jackie Robinson, in a new plaza at the ballpark to be dedicated next year, part of a $100 million renovation of the LA Stadium ahead of the 2020 All-Star Game. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 25th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud study. At 8, Israel's former ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren, talks about the relationship between American Jewry and Israel. At 9, it's part 2 of Mark Golub's sit-down with Professor Mordechai Kedar, who discusses the rise of anti-Semitism and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At 10, it's an encore presentation of the premiere of the Jake Ehrenreich Show. And coming up right after this newscast, Innovation Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 25th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.